Hi there, I'm Kirby Werchenko. I'm the director at the Broadway Theatre here in Saskatoon. I also, through the Broadway Theatre, we developed a series of events in the last few years called Winterruption. And that's going into its third year in 2018. And I think for both of those reasons, I was invited to be part of the contingent that went to the Winter Cities Conference in Edmonton in February. We were excited to go because it's something we already felt very committed to. We've put 2 years into multi-day, multi-venue, multi-art form festival of sorts called Winterruption. So in addition to Winterruption and its activities in Saskatoon, we also have a partner in Regina who runs Winterruption there, and same dates, same name, several shared acts and artists. So we feel like we've got a good strong start and that we've been involved in winter activities, if you will, for a few years now. However, I would say that our limitation certainly has been that we're indoors. We are all performance-based and we're pretty much locked to indoor venues thus far in winter. We had already kind of wanted to expand what we do and how we do it and incorporate being outside, and probably had the start of some ideas, but going to the Winter Cities Conference for me was very strong in that while I was supposed to be a cultural rep and there was kind of 4 areas that we were touching on there, excuse me, I felt strongly that there was a lot of inspiration from all those areas. In Montreal, they're talking about the repurposing of public space and primarily summertime public space. So taking a public pool that is closed 8 months of the year and suddenly building a temporary roof structure, walking down underneath it and having a small patio with some heat and some drinks and an artist playing a set. It doesn't matter if I or Winterruption or Saskatoon takes that idea specifically. What it did was it reminded me the strength of idea building with others, with partners, how if I leave it to myself to think of the best ideas, we're in trouble. And so thinking outside of not just my own programming box, but even totally outside my area. Another one that I think most of us that went to the conference saw was an outdoor art gallery. And so I'm a big fan of that. In my own neighborhood, in Broadway District, we've turned our building into a 3-sided huge mural. And what we've seen is that in 3 years we've had no graffiti on it. And so I think the strength of Winter Cities for me personally was getting outside of my own programming thoughts and meeting other folks from Saskatoon for sure, but also nationally and internationally. Like everyone else on these videos, you'll hear about the Forks in Winnipeg, and I think the inspirational part of that for me is that it was only 6 or 7 years ago that the winter time in the Forks was Deadsville. It didn't happen. There was nothing going on. And they made conscious decisions to say, how do we make ourselves this 4-season city? And I almost want to laugh when I think about how do we make Saskatoon a winter city. Folks, we are. It's winter here all the time. But so far, a lot of it has been focused on what we tend to do indoors. And so Winter Cities is a conference, and I think what we'd like to see happen in Saskatoon as a takeaway from that conference, and with the right stakeholders that are interested and engaged in making things happen. We just want to see ourselves flesh out being the best version of ourselves 12 months a year. And so winter doesn't have to necessarily be, in 10 years, we won't probably have a grant program focused on winter event. We probably won't need the City of Saskatoon to give a concentrated push to support winter things. It'll just be a natural part of our year and our cycle and how we all live. If it just gets you thinking outside of your own box and listening to an idea rather than just saying, I've got the perfect idea, I think that's why it was great for me.
I agree. Like going there and seeing little bits of everything. I didn't leave with one idea or even 3 ideas that I can come back and try to plan, but there was so many little things that inspired me, from little things like the trees all being lit up. Did you guys remember downtown at night or in the day? So it really helped that atmosphere. In the winter it looked like lively and fun and bright, and it did show up in the daytime in mixing those warm and cool colors of the light bulbs. It really, I think, worked. We can maybe take from that. I'm Tanis Miller, and I'm the Downtown Bid Marketing and Communications Coordinator. I was also one of the 4 delegates selected from Saskatoon to go to the Edmonton Winter City Shake-Up Conference a couple of months ago. It was a really great event. I was really excited to go to the event from the perspective of the downtown. The downtown is, I guess, in every city, really the soul, the heart and soul of your city. So when we can make a change, I think that it can start to, serve as a bit of an artery to the other areas of the city and start making a difference in the winter. We have a really great festival season in the summer. In Saskatoon, we do summer really well. We're kind of known for that, actually. And, changing the winter perception so that winter is just as fun, just as we can capitalize on it to make just as much money. One of the psychologist speaking there, Carrie Leibowitz. She was from Jersey or New Jersey, but she went to Norway to do a study. And she talked about cultural perception and she studied human behavior in a sense. And she said something that really spoke to me. And it was, why is no one depressed here? It's winter all the time. Why is everyone different here? It must be, a culture thing, or is it something more? And what she took away from it was that it's a mindset, and winter is a mindset, largely. I mean, there is still seasonal affective disorder, and that's not to be taken away from or discounted, but there is, that conversation we can change. And the people of Norway, it seemed to her that they just were used to speaking about winter in positive terms, since they do have that mindset and that conversation happening all the time. So they make the most of it. But why don't we capitalize on the awesome restaurant industry that we have in Saskatoon? It's a culinary hotbed of sorts, and we can do stuff that other cities are doing, and we can put our own twist on it. If we took all of those restaurants that are thriving all the time, bring them together, and I think that if we had some sort of, a name to it, let's just pick a name, let's pick a date, let's get everyone together so we're not all on different pages. We need to all together, I think, make this change in order for it to make an impact. And so why don't we do that with a festival and really, get in on that culinary experience with top chefs around Canada, like the Forks is doing, like Raw Almond is so successful with. Also, outdoor patios, I think shying away from patios in the winter seems natural. There's other cities that do stuff with heated this and heated that, not even just infrastructure stuff with heated sidewalks, but why don't we pull it into restaurants and have a place where we want to go outside in the winter instead of just, naturally gravitating to the indoors where we're warm and cozy and comfortable. We need to get out of our comfort zone in a few ways, I think. Give your project a name, set a short date, this is what we learned there, and then just do it within 90 days so you're not just humming and hawing and wishing. So I think there's a lot we can do, and I think if we just execute all these little ideas we have, we can turn Saskatoon into something really big and make it one of the top best winter cities in Canada.
Yeah, and I like what you said about Saskatoon being really great in the spring and summer. Like, I know we got the Jazz Festival, we got the Fringe Festival, a lot of great things going on downtown. The riverbanks, everything's happening down there. It's like, there's stuff we're already doing. I know for the rink by the Besborough, there's a lot of things going on. And once we highlight that, we can add to it and also get other groups doing things as well besides Winter Shines, Winter Eruption, that there's all these little, a little circuit of things happening in the city, right? So it's we're doing it, but just we need to highlight about each other and maybe interact with each other, with our stakeholders and other organizers in the city. So.
My name is Chris Standing. I'm Senior Interpretive Guide at Wanuskewin, and I went to Winter City Shake-Up in Edmonton. And at Wanuskewin, our busy time of the year is mostly spring and summer, and we want to make a change. We want to have physical and cultural activities at Wanuskewin, also in the city of Saskatoon. So some of the things we do in the winter time at Wanuskewin is cultural heritage series. We also have art and myth making and lots of different crafty activities that are inside. We also have storytelling. We used to have round dances. And we just reintroduced a mini Trapper Festival, so it's something we'd like to carry on, hopefully to get people more involved, physically involved in winter, get off the couch, like get off Netflix, get off the computer, time to get outside, time to move your legs. We went to the Silver Skate Park where we learned about the fat tire bikes, not so much for Wanuskewin, but physical activities, right? At kick sleds, we can do that with our trails. We can give guided trail tours with kick sleds. We can get a snowshoe through our trails as well, and also with the Voyager games that we do at the winter festival,
winter shines, and hopefully we'll start doing some things with winterruption with the Broadway Theater, right? So there's a lot of good things. We have ideas from the Winter City Shake-Up, and also we went to flying canoe races in the evening on one of the last nights of the festival. It was great to see round dance singing from the Treaty 6 Alexis singers, and that's something we celebrate quite a bit in Saskatoon. At Oskayak High School, we had round dances at Wanuskewin. There's so many great cultural activities we can do in the winter and collaborate with each other with the winter shines, winterruption, and also have some activities going on at Wanuskewin. So it's been really great to collaborate with some of the other groups here in the city, but also to see what's going on around the world in the Yukon from the Inuit and how they celebrate their culture. And one of the presentations was with the Forks, and they do very well in the winter at first, and very similar to Wanuskewin, going back 6,000 years, buffalo hunters, a gathering place. Same thing as Wanuskewin, but the difference is they have very great numbers in the winter that surpass their summer numbers, and when it comes to clientele, and that's something we can do with the city, with Wanuskewin, with the help of all our communities, as long as we start working together and start talking about physical and cultural activities that we can do in the winter.
It's about getting people out there in the first place, right? Like, some people are out there all the time trying it out, but we got to make sure everyone has a chance. So part of that's just that simple education, like how do you layer up? A recent immigrant might not know
How
that.
to dress.
Exactly. Like I go out wearing 6 layers sometimes,
'Cause you
and
know.
I don't look huge. It's just, you got your underlayer, you got your fleece, you have everything else. So little things like that.
True.
And then making sure that people have a place to warm up, right? You shouldn't be expected to be outside for 6 hours straight.
No, no.
You should have little in out. That's how it works. And then just telling people, like, look, it's not -30 every day. People complain about the
Right.
-30.
Just a handful
But
of those
right,
days.
it'll be sunny with no wind and 10 degrees, so it's gorgeous out there. It's just getting people to try, right? Hi everyone, my name's PJ Bell and I'm an urban planner. So I had lots of fun learning about all sorts of things urban at the Winter Cities Conference over in Edmonton. I was there representing a bunch of different groups. First of all, I'm on the board of the Arundel Arbor Creek Community Association. So we do a lot of events indoors, lots of different yoga classes, sport leagues, things like that, and we'd love to expand outside a little bit more. We've got a great community rink that people use all the time, and we'd love to bring some winter festivals out to the suburbs. I know it's great to have everything into the core, but once in a while it's nice to get everyone else out there involved. So that's one thing we're looking at. I'm also a member of Saskatoon Cycles. I'm actually on the board of Saskatoon Cycles. And we are always promoting cycling, and more now people are cycling all year round. So we're trying to push for better infrastructure, better access for cyclists all year round, and that means clearing our beautiful new bike lanes and just making sure that our paths are good and safe for everybody out there on the road. And finally, I represented Livable YXE, which is a local advocacy group that's sort of a mix of multiple groups, and basically the goal is to make Saskatoon a more livable, sustainable, active, healthy, and equitable community. From the urban planning perspective, there were many different lessons that I picked up at the conference. So first of all, the issue of light. So light, in a winter city, we're often surrounded by darkness. And I'm going to sound like a villain here, but I think we need to embrace that darkness. Right now, there's light pollution everywhere. We have overlit spaces, and people have this perception that light means safety. That's not quite true. Light gives the perception of safety, but really it's people that bring safety. Light brings people outside, and then once people are out there, you have eyes on the street. That's when it's a safe, active, enjoyable place to be. So we need to be smart about the way we use light. And in winter, we have a lot of darkness and a lot of great opportunities to do that. We can be lighting up our heritage buildings in an interesting way. We can be using splashes of color here and there. The next point was winter transportation. And I'm talking more about active transportation, so walking, transit, cycling. These are so important if we want an active, healthy, and equitable city. So the importance of having great cycle tracks, which are protected bike lanes. We've got a little bit of a start here, but there's cities like Montreal that are well ahead of us. And there's lots of technology out there that we can borrow. There's great new ways to clear these bike lanes. There's ways to ensure that the snow gets pushed to the side and properly cleared so that you're not blocking pedestrians, you're not blocking people who have to park. The issue of walking is very important. There's small little designs that we can do, such as making sure that crosswalks are actually visible and not buried by snow. Things like making sure timers on walk lights are extended a little bit, because in the winter our streets are full of snow, so we have to make sure that we have enough time to cross the street. Urban design in general, and one of the big messages from the conference was focusing on the human scale. So not thinking about the large city as a whole, but looking down at the little aspects that make a city more interesting and more survivable for people everywhere. So from an urban design perspective, sun and wind are two key elements in the winter that we need to plan for. We want to make sure if we're going to be sitting outside on a patio, we want to be in the sun. If we're going to be sitting there, we want to be out of the wind. If we can only do one of the two, wind, as you know in Saskatoon, is huge. You can be in the shade, but if you're protected from the wind, it's going to be a pleasant environment. Dignity is a precondition to happiness. We're not going to be able to have a thriving winter culture and winter city if there's people that just can't take part, people that are just trying to survive in the cold. So we need to make sure that we plan and build our city so that everyone can access everything that they need. We talked about the conference, the social model of disability. So it's about changing perspectives. It's about saying that disability is actually a product of the environment, not of the person's body. So what we need to do is plan our environment so that it meets everybody's needs. And not saying that, oh, this person is disabled, we say the environment is disabled. Just get out there and do it. There's a lot that we can do as a community. We don't necessarily need the city or big fancy groups to help us along. Little community groups can get out there into the street and put on temporary demonstrations, plan small things, and just have some fun and show people what can happen. Plans and strategies are absolutely necessary. I'm an urban planner, I would know, but we need to just get out there and show people and just do it. And we'll find out that, yes, Saskatoon can be a thriving, fun winter city.